Mama has a small flat at Block 25 Owen Road. She came from India on a boat before the war. The war is over, but her husband died in a bomb blast. She is left with her mother and her children, and now the flat. It is a short flat joined to a long row of shop houses, slotted between homes. The wooden doors have oval holes in the center for the mail. The front door opens up to a narrow staircase that leads into a small square living room. The adjoining rooms are connected, one door leading to the other in a neat single file, and the walls of each room are paralleled. The living room opens up into the dining room, bypassing the single bathroom and shower, and then extending to the kitchen and out the back door. From the living room ceiling, Mama can access the misshaped attic. Up there, roof beams crisscross each other, making perfect little alcoves for bats to hide and sleep, and cast angular shadows in the night. At night, when a car passes by Owen Road, the headlights seep through the floorboards of the attic, creating other shadows that jerk across the room like amateur dancers. In the attic, the sounds from the street disappear into muffled whispers, and the chatter from the neighbors in the shop houses across becomes mute. Mama says her life started again up in the attic. One still night when her sons are asleep and her daughter is dozing in her mother's arms, she climbs up the ladder and crosses her legs as she sits on the attic floor. Mama taps her fingers absent-mindedly on the wooden planks, and they vibrate beneath her. There are splinters that feel soft, almost hairy. As she rests her hands onto the wood, she senses a strange warmth emanating from the surface and grazing her fingers. She strokes the wood, wondering where the heat has come from, since rain has been beating down incessantly all day long, loudly announcing its presence repeatedly on the aluminium awning above the windows and flooding the drains, boldly inviting itself up to the third step of the single-story flat and playing with the shoes that had been resting on it. Below her, she hears a loud gust of wind slam windows shut. Despite goosebumps rising on her skin, the floorboards still feel warm against her palms. When she climbs down the ladder and goes to bed, her fingers continue to tingle with heat, and her hands pulsate the whole night long, interrupting her sleep. The next day, her daughter screams when she tries to touch her. When she puts her palms to her face, she cringes. Her hands feel unbearably hot, even on her own skin. So Mama sits on the spiral staircase that winds down from the back door, and the cool concrete gives her temporary respite. She returns to the attic at night, hoping that if she presses her hands to the floorboards, her hands will stop burning. Nothing happens. A few days later, her mother brings her a sewing machine. It is second-hand, but it works. She knows how to sew, but it has been a long time since she has done so, since they had been moving around and living in different places after the war. Now, she can sew uniforms for her boys and new clothes for her daughter. She can even sew for the lady next door, who showed her the pale lace she bought from the market to make a curtain. Her fingers are still tingling, throbbing. She cannot wait to start. She sticks a spool of thread on top of the spool pin and carefully pulls it through the eye of the needle. She steps onto the pedal and the machine gently stirs to life. As the needle thuds onto the cloth, her hot fingers wind the fabric back and forth with ease, moving with dexterity she never knew she possessed. When her fingers tire, she goes to the window and stares up at the sky, resting her hands on the cool concrete ledge. The window sill seems to sink in slightly, absorbing the weight of her palms until she feels a tremor within her hands and returns to the sewing machine. She puts a sign on the doorway that says dressmaker. All through the day, her fingers tremble and tap on the cloth, moving along to the rhythm of her foot as the needle pokes and sews. Word of mouth travels quickly and the customers grow in number. Every day, the narrow staircase leading up from the front door is crowded with many pairs of strangers' shoes. During the night when her hands stop dancing across the sewing machine, the burning returns. So she devotes herself to whipping up a dish or two in the kitchen with her shiny black curls, and her shiny black curls remain pristine as she works in the warm kitchen. Her strong-willed fingers massage powdery spices deep into the chicken that her mother buys from Tekka Market, the flesh tender and fresh since her son has slaughtered the bird earlier in the morning, excellent for curry. Her fingers chop onions into neat cubes and then grip a wooden spatula to stir the pot in which she's cooking the chicken. She frowns. The curry is on the boil, and tiny tendrils of steam gently escape until the meat is left swimming in its own flavors, that intensify later when she adds onions, cloves, and a plethora of other spices. Her deft fingers lower the heat, swirl rice grains in water, measure spices, open the window to let the heat out, all in succession, pausing only to wipe themselves dry on a faded apron. Swirls of spice smoke rise to the ceiling, creeping through the crevices in the attic floor. The wooden planks breathe in the scent of mustard seed and cinnamon and creak with an air of satisfaction. Okay, wait, I'm just going to move on. Okay, so Mama sets out to do God's work at home. With her strong fingers, she corrects all form of moral misdemeanor with a pinch, a hard pinch. With an alarming hitman's precision, they know how to pick the fleshiest portion of one's exposed skin, deftly finding its way there without a single second of dithering. Sitting down in front of the picture of Jesus and Mary instead of kneeling while praying the rosary, 1 pinch. Getting into trouble at school, 2 pinches. Walking through Tekka Market half naked after getting one's clothes stolen at Farrer Park swimming pool, then sneaking up the spiral staircase and quickly entering through the back door, triumphantly thinking that nobody knows until one uncle invites himself over for tea and tells everyone of the uproarious sight he has just witnessed at Tekka Market, 3 pinches. Being accused of stealing money from Mama's purse and denying it profusely, 4 pinches. The real culprit gets away with buying sweets from the provision shop and is never punished, although he does put on weight. Trying to feign sickness and hoping to skip Mass on Sunday, 1 very, very long pinch that bites into that soft, tender part of your arm until you get up, get dressed, and get out of the house and off to church with a purplish bruise on your skin. I'll pinch little for you, she says, whenever the small cousins take their time to come into the kitchen and get lunch. The trained muscles of her fingertips clench the chicken and shred it, working nimbly until the plate is filled with bite-sized portions of chicken and rice, moistened with a little bit of pepper water to help it go down. Okay, that's all I'm going to read. It's a long story to do with, I mean, there were so many details about Mama's life that I could have brought in, but it was really hard to put it in, and I thought I didn't want to write a historical story, so it's all about her hands and how her hands do all sorts of things. And then later the Pope comes and visits her, and yeah.
The Pope?
Yeah, it's like
she had the Pope one.
It's like magic realism where I make up stuff and link. I mean, I was inspired by the picture where she's shaking the Pope's hand, so she comes.
Yeah, Penny Merenti Award. When I come back from India, I'll have some more things.
Okay, good.
I hope to go to Mama's school, and then you can build up your stories.
Okay.
Dropping down from the roof or not?
Me.
Oh yeah, I thought you were falling down for the yeah.